Hello viewers, in the second lecture of C Sharp, we will be learning what are classes and objects in C Sharp. So first of all, what is a class in C Sharp? A class serves as a blueprint or template that defines the structure and behavior of real world entities in your code. Same as we created classes in SQL Server to store data, and in C Sharp we create classes to create a blueprint. And here is a practical example. Let's suppose you have a class named car. A car can contain properties like model and company. So how does class store data? The class stores data with the help of properties and data types. So in the previous lecture of C Sharp, we also learned about what are data types and variables. So now how do we access a class? To access the data of class, we use objects. Object is a form of class that we use to access our class. So what is an object in C Sharp? The object works to bring the classes to life. An object is a concrete instance of class created using the new keyword. While the class is abstract, objects are entities that exist in memory. So this means that an object is created during the runtime. And second, it occupies memory space with specific values, and it can interact with other object. So you should remember something about the object in class. First, a class can have more than one object. An object is used to bring classes to life. So now let's implement this practically in Visual Studio. So we will create a new project, console application, and the name of project is classes and object. So let's create the project. You can see we already have a default class of program. But now what if we want to create our own class? To create a class, you cannot create a class inside a class. Let's see if you can. See, you can create a class in a class, but there is no use to create a class in a class. So we will create a separate class in the namespace with the class student. In this class, we will be storing a blueprint of student information. So how can we store the information of student? With help of student ID, student name and admission number, etc. So in the previous lecture, we learned how to store data in C Sharp. To store data in C Sharp, we must use the variables. And how do we declare a variables? We also learned in the previous video. To declare a variable, first its data type integer and then the name of variable. Let's suppose it's student ID. Now second variable is string and name, because name is a variable character, so to store the name we must take data type as string. Let's take it as student name. And third, integer admission number. Now we have created a class with three variables: student ID, student name and admission number. So now how do we access this class? Here, to access a class, we learned about an object. An object is created with the keyword new. So let's see how object is created. To create an object, student and the name of object std equals to new student, and that's all we have, and braces. Now this is a query to create an object. Now I will tell you what this query means. Now student is the name of our class and the std is name of our object. This means that student, which is STD, is new student. Now we will access our class with this STD. Now if you write STD and press dot. Yes, there is also another concept of access specifier which we will learn in next video. For now, you can do it public. You can see now these variables are now public. By default, these variables are private in a class. Private private means that you can only access them within a class, and public means you can access anywhere in the anywhere in our application. Now, if you press std dot, you can see three variable: admission number, student ID, and student name. Now let's take it as student ID is 1. Now, why do we write the dot? The dot means that inside the student we have a variable student ID. And now there is a shortcut. If you want the same line again, you can do Control C plus V. But if you don't want to copy this code, you can simply press Control plus D and it will copy the next line and paste there. You can see if you write anything here, it will just copy it and paste in the next line. So let's take it as student name, and it is string, so it must be in double quote, Ashmit Sharma. And the third as admission number. Now let's take admission number like 1000. Now what if you want to see the data? If you remove this ends, see, nothing happened because we have just declared the data. We have written nothing to access them. So let's write console plus write line, and you remember the shortcuts CW and double tap. Now we also learned about the bracket operators in the last video. So let's suppose the ID of student is student is 1. Wait, let's suppose is 0, and let's press Ctrl plus D, name and admission number, comma, student ID, std dot. Now let's copy the std dot student name, std dot admission number. We have to hit the comma here. And now to hold this record, we have learned about the console.readline in the previous lecture. Now if you start this, you can see the ID of student is 1, the name of student is Ashmit Sharma, and the admission number of student is 1000. Now what if you want the name of student here? You can see the admission number of 0. Now if it is 0, it must be greater than 0, which is 1. Now there will be another comma, the student dot name, and now this means the admission number of the 0, admission number of student name, and the student name is Ashmit Sharma. So it will come the admission number of Ashmit Sharma is admission number, which is 1000. Now if you execute this, you can see the ID of student is 1, the name of student is Ashmit Sharma, the admission number of Ashmit Sharma is 1000. Now, can we have more than one object of a class? Yes, we can have more than one object of a class. In the previous lecture, we also learned about the comments in SQL in C Sharp. So let's comment this code with Control K plus C. Now let's create another object of the class. But remember one thing, you can have more than one object of a class, but the name must be different. So what was the query to create an object? It was student. It was the name of class student, the name of object std. Let's take it as std1 equals to new student and the braces. Now you can again declare the value std1 dot id equals to 2. Now control plus D, admission number and the student name. Let's take the student name as Abdul and the admission number is 2000 and the student ID is 2. Now if we uncomment this code and copy this and paste it here, now it must be std1 dot student ID and console dot readline. Only one is enough for this. And let's paste it here, this one. Now what if you execute this code? It will show us data of both this object and this object. Now if you execute this, you can see the ID of student is 1. The name of student is Ashmit Sharma. Admission number of Ashmit Sharma is 1000. And the same as for the second object. You can see 2 Abdul and 2000 and also here Abdul. Now there is also a new concept, console.write. I mean write line. A write line means that it will create another line after it ends. Like after this line will end, it will press and enter automatically, which you can't see. It means it will break the line and continue the next write line from another line. Now if you want, now you can see here that this data is very joined together, and if you want a space here from here, because this is the last value of student object 1 and the first value of std1, so you can just console.write line here. It will break a line. You can see a gap of one line has come here. So in the next video, we will learn about access specifier, which are public, private, internal, and protected. These are very important topic for the C Sharp and also MVC and ASP.NET Code. So in the next lecture, we will be learning about the access specifiers. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.